Hi everybody, welcome to the News Now Nation channel. This is Mishri and today we are talking to Ankita Srivastav. And if I had to introduce her, I don't think I would be able to because her profile is so vast and she has done so many incredible things in the past few years that it would be really difficult to pinpoint one and define her with it. But when we spoke for the first time, Ma'am was kind enough to define herself as a tortoise in a world of mermaids, which was a very, very interesting analogy and something that I'd heard for the first time. And another thing I remember, and this is how I'm going to introduce you because I want to save your story for the interview. But I remember the first time I spoke to you, I was really intimidated because, sir had sent me your profile, and I was like, my God, how am I going to even speak to somebody like this? And I remember when you spoke, you were like, Rishi, what do you think we should talk about? And your first suggestion was, I think we should talk about the mistakes I've made and the failures I've had, which is such an honest and real way to talk about your life. Because no matter how much you've achieved and no matter how much you have seen, everybody has made mistakes, and that is so comforting to hear for somebody like me who is, still making mistakes as we speak, probably. So thank you so much for doing this, ma'am. We are really grateful to have you.
Thank you, Mishri, for calling me here on this prestigious platform. And I'm so glad to address so many viewers through your platform. And as you said, I am so fond of talking about my failures because that is what has made me actually. My success is not what I should not be recognized by my success only. I
Correct.
should be recognized by my failures as well. And
Correct.
how did I overcome that?
Correct.
I believe in that mantra. You can leap. You should leap. If there is a mountain in front of you, just leap across. But suppose you're not able to leap, then what do you do? What do
True.
you do? Not always you can leap and cross that mountain. Then
And you
what do you
climb.
become? No, you become a snake. You become a snake and crawl around the mountain and cross it.
Correct.
That means even if your speed is slow,
Yeah.
you can still overcome that obstacle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not always we can run and
Yeah.
leap.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Completely. So as we start, hearing your story, I mean, I think we should start at the very beginning. You had said that you come from a very, very ordinary family. So can you tell me a little bit about your childhood?
Yeah, okay. I am the second child in my family. My first child in the family is a brother, elder
Yeah.
brother, and then I was the second child, and then two sisters.
Uh-huh.
Now, yeah, younger sisters who are quite young to me. One is 15 years younger to me, and one is 9 years younger to me. So they were born at a very long gap.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and I was brought up with that typical that time in the city of Allahabad, that the son is more important than the daughter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It happens. Dadis and the nannies would always give
Absolutely.
gifts to the brother only, not to
Correct.
me. I was
Correct.
always left out,
Correct.
getting a gift or something. But then I thought, why not I earn my gifts? So
Hmm.
I used to participate in local races during Republic Days and on 15th of August and 26th
Correct.
January.
Correct.
I used to run, participate in that, and win lots of prizes. My brother never won, but he would take away those prizes. Very small. I was just
Yeah.
third, fourth, fifth, seventh.
Correct. Correct.
I always I didn't have shoes, I didn't have anything. So I used to barefoot only, I used to run in that
Correct.
race. And I used
Correct.
to get those, and I used to feel very proud about that gift or the prize that I had. And I
Correct.
never felt bad that I was not getting the gifts what my brother was getting, or
Correct.
his birthday being celebrated, my birthday being celebrated with moong dal ka halwa, his birthday being celebrated with a cake. So all those were there when we were very small.
Correct.
And as luck would have it, I grew up, my sister was born, and luckily both my sisters are like ferocious and very, very demanding. So they could demand all the attention from my parents.
Yeah.
I have never been able to demand that attention. So
Correct.
I was earlier brought up like a second child, like a daughter. Later on, when I grew up, the younger sisters took away all the attention from my
Correct.
parents. So I
Correct.
was kind of always that tortoise kind of a thing. Na?
Yeah.
I could very proudly say the ugly duckling in the house. Just like a battak, I used to keep moving around here
Correct.
and there.
Correct.
So, but then I never gave up. It didn't deter me. It didn't deter me from. See, it happens when you are neglected or when you are just kept aside. You have that desire to make yourself seen, make
Correct.
yourself pampered, make
Correct.
yourself understood by everybody, noticed. And that was the time I decided that wherever I go, I need to be noticed.
Uh-huh.
I will not I will not be ignored or neglected.
Correct.
So as my name suggests, my parents have been very nice in naming me as Ankita. Ankita means imprint. It means Ankit. I mean, you
Mm.
engrave your personality, you get
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah.
And as luck would have it, I started getting noticed from a very early age for my whatever, for my skill of reading or for my skill of participating in various sports, debates, or in
Correct.
fancy dresses. I
Correct.
started participating. So I was getting noticed by my own karmas, by my own hard work,
Correct.
not by somebody else's introduction or something
Correct.
like that. So
Correct.
this is how I made myself noticed because I knew otherwise I'll be ignored. And I didn't want to be ignored at all.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You're right. Completely.
Now, once I reached, and I said in my school, I was again a tortoise among the sea of mermaids.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was a mermaid there.
Yeah.
Either they were rich, either they were beautiful, either they were good in sports or in studies also. I was not a very good student also. I was
Correct.
a very diligent, hardworking, disciplined student, but then I
Correct.
was not very good in studies.
Correct.
Why? Because maybe I did not understand many things. I did not have that knack of understanding, whatever. I don't blame anybody. I never blame anybody for whatever I
Correct.
didn't get.
Correct. Correct.
And I, as luck would have it, my first failure in my life was I failed in class 7. Why? Because I couldn't comprehend English and Hindi both. These
Mm.
were my two Waterloo. Language was my biggest problem. I couldn't comprehend and write grammatically correct in sentences either in English or in Hindi. So
Huh.
I failed because I was studying in a convent. The best thing my parents have done that they made me study in a convent in St. Mary's Convent, Allahabad. And it was very difficult to clear an exam if you fail in the languages, especially in English language. So I failed. Then I had to repeat the class, but then I did lots of hard work to understand. My parents put me in a tuition. I studied, and learned and read lots of good books, Nancy Drew, then Hardy Boys, then I think I started reading um, Sidney Sheldon's and all those
Uh-huh.
things
Uh-huh.
from the library I used to get.
Uh-huh.
That helped me overcome that obstacle of language.
Correct.
And then I obviously passed my next, when I repeated my class, I passed it with definitely with flying colors.
Wow.
So when I was in class ninth, my same teacher who had failed me in class 7, she gave me a compliment from log cabin to White House. That
Uh-huh.
means
Uh-huh.
a small thing, insignificant thing to a very significant.
Uh-huh.
Now, after this, I was in various debates, I was in various science competitions, I was in sports. Then I gradually started participating in everything.
Correct.
It was very difficult for me to find time because for sports, you need to devote some time in the school,
Yeah.
those extra
Yeah.
time. My parents did not allow you, I will not send you separately.
Huh.
Who is going to take you? Because those days, girls did not go to school or
Correct.
something unescorted by parents or somebody.
Correct.
They cannot be
Correct.
sent in the morning or the evening.
Correct.
In the
Correct.
Anyway, I did not give up. I took up those sports wherein the practices were not required. So much practices were not. I couldn't do basketball. I did hurdles. I did races, javelin throw, and as luck would have it, in 11th, the javelin thrown by another girl got it hit me in my thigh, and my portion of flesh was out.
Oh no.
Now I was not allowed to participate in any of the sports. I was out of the sports field. So it I could have pursued sports as my career or maybe, but then that happened. So it my mother and all ki ladki hai shaadi kaise hogi? I mean tang ho gaya kya kuch ho gaya. So all that crap happened, but nothing had happened. Just a flesh had come out, and I was very brave in handling that situation.
Yeah.
And soon after, when I got okay, I participated in PT, not in sports, not on the field as such, but then
Correct.
normal people. So this
Correct.
was my second setback. Then I came to class 12, and my mother wanted me to become a doctor. So they
Correct.
put me in a coaching because my brother had already joined IIT. So everybody wanted the boy to become an engineer, girl to become a doctor in those
Doctor.
days. And I studied for 1 year, and I failed in my medical entrance exam. I couldn't clear. That was my third failure again. I
Uh,
mean, I just couldn't make it. Why I couldn't make it? Maybe because I didn't give my best. Obviously,
correct.
I didn't give
Correct.
my best. There's nobody else to be blamed. But
Correct.
then finally, I started doing my graduation. And when I entered my entrance of graduation, I was in the newspaper. That was my first fame in my life. I scored maximum marks in the entrance exam in the graduation, that is in BSc, and I was in the newspaper, local
Wow.
newspaper.
Wow.
So that was my first small fame. I think I started getting noticed from there. And then I started writing. Why I wanted to write? Because as a girl child in those days in a small town in Allahabad, parents did not have time to listen to a girl child.
Mm.
And siblings also didn't have any interest to listen to your whatever you want to. School, I studied in a convent wherein I was not allowed to speak because it's a very disciplined kind of a school. So that made me start writing my poems, my expressions actually.
Mm.
I used to create imaginary boyfriends also. And I used to write poems for them when I entered my university. And I used to feel very happy because I was not allowed to talk to the boys. My father was strictly against the fact that if I will talk to a boy, I'll be punished. So I never spoke to any boy in my college, in my school time. But then, being a girl, born as a girl, I did definitely have those feelings. So I
Correct.
used to imagine imaginary boyfriends and I used to write poems. Or other boyfriends, they were lovers, not even boyfriends. They were like lovers in my mind. So I started writing poems
Yeah.
those days, and it started getting published in various. And my first bigger fame was American Poetry Anthology. It was a worldwide poetry anthology wherein I sent as a participant, and it was selected. But then they asked me some dollars to buy that book as a published author. I didn't have the money, obviously, so I couldn't buy that book. So I don't have that book. Anyway, so after that, I did my graduation, and my parents started looking for a groom because abhi iska shadi karna hai. And I did my best not to get selected by any of the groom. I used to run away. I had various letters coming from the prospective groom that they are coming to see the girl. I used to hide them in my botany book, and I used to run to my nanny's house so that they don't come and see me at all. Because I
Correct.
didn't want to get married. By
Correct.
that time, I had started seeing the serial Udan.
Uh,
Udan was a serial which prompted me, kicked me, motivated me to don the uniform because
yeah.
that was the answer to all my uh, issues that I had in my mind.
Correct.
Like I can conquer the world. I wanted to
Correct.
conquer the world. I always
Correct.
wanted to.
Correct.
And I was a tomboy. I was more like a tomboy, less like a girl actually.
Correct.
So I that motivated me, and I finally went to give the Indian Army exam. That is the CDS exam,
Correct.
wherein my parents did not. My father was dead against that. I had a huge debate and lots of problems. He
Yeah.
didn't take me for any coaching. He didn't take me. So I used to practice running on the terrace of my house so that that agility comes in my body. When I go for my SSB, I get selected. And as luck would have it, I was the sixth in the merit all over India out of 25 girls, and I got selected for Indian Army in
Wow.
1993. I
Wow.
joined 1993. I joined Indian Army in Chennai, OTA Chennai, and then that was just the leap that I had taken.
Correct.
That was the big leap. That was a big leap. But when I reached academy, I was again not knowing swimming. I was not knowing, obviously, lots of physical things, the standard which was required. So
Correct.
I had tough time
Correct.
overcoming everything.
Correct.
More practice, more and more practice I
Yeah.
had to do. And finally, I could get commission in 1994 as a second lieutenant.
Wow.
When I went to my first unit, there was a bigger challenge. I always had challenges lined up in front of me. Always, they were pehle se they were sitting there that she
Yeah.
will come.
Yeah.
This challenge is going to come.
Correct.
Now there was the biggest challenge. I was the first lady officer along with my buddy. Now, nobody was ready to accept us as women bosses, the
Yeah.
soldiers. They had
Correct.
never seen women bosses. I was the first one. Now, to prove them that we are as good as a male officer, I had to behave like a man. I had to look like a man. I had to talk like a man. I had to run like a man. I had to do everything that would make me accepted by
Correct.
them as their
Correct.
bosses. It
Correct.
was a very tough time. It was a very
Correct.
tough time for me to prove to them that we are
Correct.
officers.
Correct. And you've
It was,
already had a harder journey to reach than a male officer would have had at that point. So
yeah,
you've already
yeah,
shattered, parental expectations, expectations to get
yeah,
married, expectations to embrace femininity as a whole. And then you have to reject some natural instincts that you might have had because you are a woman. And you might have
yeah,
had to reject some natural instincts just so you can, commandeer that respect and you can, validate yourself. You don't want to show even a hint of vulnerability or a hint of femininity for that matter, क्योंकि
absolutely.
you will be rejected. You will not be treated as someone
Exactly.
who they look
People
up
will
to
not
and respect.
accept me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I had to do the double practice, double manner, double everything was double for me.
Yeah.
So and without showing my feminine side, without
Yeah.
showing my vulnerable side, everything was like closed, absolutely closed. Now that led me to for 14 years I served in the Indian Army. Of course, if you do another show for me, then I will tell you how we struggled in the Indian Army
Yeah.
to reach today the permanent commission which has been given today to the women officers of the
Yeah.
newer generation.
Definitely. Yeah.
How I have fought the initial battle, how badly I have fought, but that will require a different show
Yeah. Yeah.
because
I'm sure.
very typical, yeah, very typical fight that I have started. That I started in 1990. I think I started my fight in 2004,
Wow.
and for the extension of the service and permanent commission, then the rank, then everything, lots of things were there. Because we were again the initial batches. The whole nation did not know as such
Yeah.
what to do with this batch of lady
Correct.
officers.
Correct. Correct.
See,
Correct.
there was a struggle always. So, but I didn't give up. Then what happened? I was behaving like a man, and I finished 14 years as a man, as a complete manly structure.
Correct.
Now, what happened once I came out after leaving army in the civil world? I was not accepted as a man. Why will people accept me as a man?
Correct. Hello. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me? Now I
Yeah.
think it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
frozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so once I was out of the army, the civil world will not accept me as a man when I'm
Hmm.
a woman.
Yeah.
So now I had the biggest challenge to convert myself back into a woman.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
how do I convert back? How do I convert back? So I walked the beauty pageant ramp. I took the
Wow.
180-degree challenge. I said I'm going to learn how to be a woman. So I won a Tanishq beauty pageant. Then, followed by that, I went to Gladrags Mrs. India 2009, wherein I told Mrs. Maureen Wadia, who's the host of that pageant, that you have to teach me how to be a woman. I've not come here for any prize, any reward, any crown. I just
Yeah.
want to learn how to be a woman. And those 1 month time, I learned, I was not knowing a difference between a lip liner and an eyeliner. I did not know these two things.
Correct.
For me, the only cosmetic till then I had used was a sunscreen. That was a cosmetic for me. I had not understood any cosmetic till that time. So I learned a lot how to stand. And I knew only two poses. It is Savdhan and Vishram.
Yeah.
With those two poses, I walked the beauty pageant ramp like a model, like a
Wow.
beauty queen.
Wow.
And I was awarded the Most Vivacious Woman Award, sub award of
Wow.
2009 by
Wow.
Mrs. Maureen Bhatia itself. So now I have documented this entire journey, how I became from olive green to a beauty queen in
Yeah.
a 90,000 worded book, which is called From Olive Green to a Beauty Queen. Once
Wow.
it comes out, people will know how difficult it was for me to
I'm
become a
sure.
woman.
I'm sure. And, you spoke about the physical aspect of it. And that is so true. In fact, obviously, not to the scale that you have. But even I find myself when I'm working in certain situations, shifting into a more masculine kind of space where I feel like I shouldn't say anything that is related to what traditionally women are supposed to like. Open inverted comma, close inverted comma. But, and shifting to, and in certain situations, having to force myself to embrace, probably become more of a girlier girl than I am originally. And you're so right when you say that. But more than the physical aspect, I also think there is a huge emotional shift that happens,
Yeah.
from maybe the need to command and protect, to also the need to sort of let go. Was it an emotional shift also for you?
Oh, yes, it was such a big emotional shift, very big. In fact, I learned a lot of ways to handle my emotional shift
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Earlier, it was such a very masculine emotions, actually, very masculine emotions, not caring for those small, softer ones, not
uh,
actually seeing those softer ones.
Correct.
And in fact, for my children also, I was such a, they used to call us, they have got two dads in the house actually. They never called before.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I had to convert myself as a mom actually. Because
Correct.
as a mom is blessed with so many virtues, so many things which a mom can display to the
Correct.
children.
Correct.
I I developed upon that. I really worked upon that and then I imbibed all those things. So it was a
Correct.
huge emotional shift for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you suppressed certain parts of yourself which had to
Yeah,
come out later, which came
yes,
out through, I mean, I cannot even imagine coming from a, army background and then being like, okay, now I want to walk the beauty pageant ramp. It is a gigantic shift. I still can't believe it when I say it. It's hugely, it's like one extreme to the other extreme. But
correct.
what
Absolutely.
how much you must have learned from that, and how much you must have grown from that is.
Yeah, each day I used to learn. Each day I used to learn. It's my learning. It's all my learning. I don't take it as a the flaunt. I don't flaunt it as a that I did this. I
Yeah.
flaunt it that I learned that.
Correct.
Everything in my life is a learning,
Absolutely.
Every failure. There also I was being mocked at, I was being written
Correct.
off. And
Absolutely.
one thing, Mishri, one thing I would like to tell you, my life lesson today, after all this, at this age, I have learned if you are a non threatening personality to
Hmm.
your contenders, your
Hmm.
contestants, to your
Hmm.
people around you, you
Correct.
will always be helped by those people, motivated by those people, and encouraged by this people, by that group of
Correct.
people.
Correct.
And you will always succeed then.
Correct.
If I was a tortoise amongst the sea of mermaid, will any mermaid feel threatened by me?
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But then what did I become after the mermaids started resting? I converted myself. I took a leap
Yeah.
from a tortoise to a tiger. I became a tiger. I was beyond each mermaid's even vision to
Yeah.
even think of competing with me.
Correct. Correct.
They
Correct.
never thought that I can actually compete with them. But then I
No.
was beyond their competition then.
Yeah. You're so right. And I think in the current, day and age, everybody is constantly trying to show their best side. They're constantly trying
Yeah,
to show their achievements. They're constantly trying to show that our lives are perfect and we are perfect. And also subconsciously trying to say that you should be intimidated by me because I am better than you. When the truth
yeah,
is, we are better than them in some aspects, and we are worse than them in some aspects, and we are
yeah,
struggling in some aspects. And just being honest and being more authentic versions of ourselves I think what you said, I don't think being a tortoise, when you say that, I don't think you mean that people should put themselves down or, make themselves feel small or make themselves feel less than they are, than the rest. But actually, just be truthful and just be honest. And once you do that, I think that is when you open the door up to connections, you open the door up to help, you open the door up to a level of humility that I think nobody else can achieve. And I think you embody that the best.
Yeah. So in the beauty pageant place also, I already told I don't know how to stand. I can't walk. I've never worn a heel
Absolutely.
in my life.
Absolutely.
I declared it initially only. I was very
Correct.
candid about my thing. I don't know anything. People used to initially they laughed. Then they thought, okay, she's being honest in telling. See, if you honestly tell the public about your flaws, about your ignorance about a particular thing, then people will never feel intimidated about you,
Absolutely.
from that
Absolutely.
personality that you are shown. And
Absolutely.
that gives me an edge to strike when it is required.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Completely.
So
I
then you
completely agree
stand
with
out.
you.
Then you stand out. And generally, I see people say, "I am the fanne khan." Don't do this fanne khan thing. I mean, this is my message to the
Yeah.
newer generation, the younger
Correct.
people. Don't
Correct.
do this fanne khan thing. Underplay, underplay, just
Correct.
underplay.
And
I mean,
you're,
it's not required.
yeah, you're right. Underplay and be real. I think, one of the most defining parts of your personality is that you have shifted into so many multiple roles, as even as a child, entering the literature space, entering the literature space as somebody who did not know how to read or write in English
Yeah.
properly and fluently in the
Yes.
seventh standard, to an author and
Yes.
an army officer, and one of the first female army officers at that, and then and then into the beauty world and the world of beauty. All three very intimidating spaces to be, because in all spaces are spaces where you have to show a certain side of you, and you have to give off a certain brand as well. And I think a reason that you were able to do that so well was because you were able to admit that entering so late, also like when you entered into the beauty world so late in life after serving 14 years in the army,
I was 38. I
you
was
were
38.
yeah, you were 38 and you still had the courage and the humility to try something that was so new, and that was so new. Because at 38, very rarely people want to say that, I don't know this. They'll be like, I don't know this, so I don't want to go close to that field. Not that I don't
Correct.
know this, let me give a shot, let me give it a shot. And I think that's
Hmm.
my biggest learning from you, that just wherever you are, you can always learn something new,
Yeah.
and you need to have a certain level of courage and a certain level of humility to do that.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I still dream to become the president of India, you know?
I'm sure one day, I'm sure, I mean, you are completely capable of it. And hopefully one day I will be able to say that I have interviewed the person who is sitting as the president of India. So
So
thank you
I
so,
just dream. I dream and I have that focus. And one more thing before I just go, I would like to don't be in any race. I've never been in a race to do everything. I keep myself
yeah,
closed also. I step down also. I
yeah,
need my family to grow as well. I need my
correct.
children to grow as well. I need them to move ahead. I should
Absolutely.
not in that race of proving myself कि I can do this, that. No, it is not required. Sometimes I just step down and I want them to grow
Correct.
because I don't want to be that selfish person. Ki, no, no, only I should be seen. I
Correct.
know I will be seen, but then it's not required.
Yeah.
So
Grow as
another
others
10,
grow.
yeah, let others go. Let others go. So
Yeah.
10 years down the line, maybe, or maybe 15 years, that is the time I plan to become the president of India.
I'm confident and I hope that you will. And thank you so much, ma'am, for taking this time to talk to us. Very, very grateful to have heard you. Very, very inspired, very, very excited to take on today. And I'm sure everybody who hears this will also be in that space. So thank you so much for doing that. And I hope everybody who is watching this enjoyed watching this interaction. And thank you so much. And you can read ma'am's book that's coming out very soon
Yeah,
called.
okay, I'll tell you. On Amazon Kindle, there are lots of books of mine, and my latest book is Ehsaas, that is a Hindi poem, which I took up a challenge during my quarantine that I
Wow.
wanted to write 95 poems. I wrote, and that got published under the name of Ehsaas. And the
Ehsaas.
pink scarecrow, yeah, the pink scarecrow is already on Amazon. That is about romantic suspense in the military backdrop. And
Wow.
from olive green to a beauty queen, that is yet to come, but I'll let you know when it comes that you should
Definitely.
read.
We will be happy. We will be happy to cover it. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.